Ball Nation, it's your guy Rio, and we're back with another episode previewing our Week 11 game. I got my guy from the C3 Panthers podcast coming on with me. How you doing today, boss?
Man, glad to be here, Rio, man. Like you said, Riverboat reunion. I mean, Rio, there's a lot of gambling references when it comes to Ron Rivera. And you know what? We feel like we won the lottery with Cam Newton back in town. So, man, thanks for having me on the show. Let's get into it.
Yeah, let's do it, man. Y'all are coming off the return of Superman himself, man. Cam Newton is back. Honestly, I've been saying for weeks that we should sign him here. Is there some underlying beef or something that I don't know about Cam and Ron? Because why was Cam never signed by Washington, in your opinion?
So last night I've been trying to expand our channel content a lot, and I started doing these reaction videos to press conferences, and I listened to Ron Rivera's press conference. You know how they do the kind of the phone conference with the opposing
With the
media.
other team. Yeah.
Yeah, and look, Ron Rivera fan here. Arguably the best coach in Panthers history. Him and John Fox kind of like neck and neck. And rooting for him just as a person, as a human being. But you got to ask, there some beef there? I think there might be, because look, I think Ron really diminished Cam's importance to his success in the press conference. Go and watch it, man, and just tell me how you guys just feel about it, because they're talking about these moments that you remember about Cam's career and things. And he referenced some of the most bizarre ones from when they were drafting him and whether or not
He
he
met his
thought he was going to be a
family.
good fit. Yeah. And it was like, man, I'm
Yeah.
telling you, like, hey, Cam saved your career, homie, over and over. You almost got fired 3 or 4 times, and Cam made you. And look, Ron, I like Ron. There's a lot of things I like about Ron, but after we went to the Super Bowl in 2015, Ron changed as a person. And I know this is going to sound weird, but before the Super Bowl run, he was the quintessential fall on the sword dude. Anytime something went wrong, Ron was like, I got to get better as a coach. We got to get better as a staff. He always took the hits for his team and his players. After the Super Bowl, he would say stuff like this: players got to execute. Man, we can only do so much if the players ain't making a play. And it was just like, man, he felt like he made it. So he was not interested in Ron and Cam Newton. And I think there is a little bit of bitterness. And I don't know if bitterness is the right word, but there is something, because look, Ron lost his job because Cam Newton was hurt for 2 years and they couldn't do anything, otherwise. And Ron, um, and to kind of blame Ron a little bit about this, I won't say blame him, but look, is that this is where Carolina did Cam wrong, is that they just took advantage of him for so long. And what I mean by that is, it's like, we don't have to put any investment in the offensive line. We don't have to put any investment in weapons. Cam will make it happen. We'll just invest in the defense. So I think Ron is sort of looks at Cam as the juncture of his career, or the reason that he's no longer in Carolina. And he certainly isn't just speaking so fondly about Cam, is he?
Yeah, he's not. He does. It sounds like he doesn't want to give him too much credit for the success
Right.
that they had in Carolina. It's kind of weird because publicly they show each other so much love, but it feels like there's something we don't know. There's some sort of underlying beef or clash or issue that they've never resolved, because there have been a lot of weeks where it would have made a lot of sense for Cam to be in Washington. 2 years
Right.
straight.
As so much has changed, and I've got a lot of questions for you about Ron Rivera and what's going on in Washington. But one of the things that is different now that Ron is not in Carolina, and we got a new regime in, is Ron always had a plan, and they would put this plan out there, and if it didn't work, they just were like, oh, well, I guess we'll have to wait till next year. So this year, let me give you an example, is J.C. Horn, our number one draft pick,
He got hurt.
man corner, shutdown guy, a type of player we haven't had in Carolina since, Chris Gamble, and he's even better than Chris Gamble. The point being is that he gets hurt, and under a Ron Rivera team, it's just like, well, sucks, man. Next man up. We got to figure out. In this regime, we go and get Stephon Gilmore to
Gilmore.
replace that kind of type of player and that presence. And I kind of think of it like this: is that Ron? At least I've been talking to a couple of people that are following the Washington football team. They say, look, Ron's trying to learn from his time in Carolina, get this Washington football team younger, invest in the younger players. But Ron hates playing a dang rookie. He hates playing a young guy. He likes the veterans. He's always liked the veterans. And I think that with Taylor Heineke, and maybe part of the reason with Cam, is that they went with Fitzpatrick and it didn't work. And it was just like, well, guess it didn't work. Guess on to next year.
Yeah,
And I do
it
wonder, like you
is.
said, is there something underlying with Cam? And maybe there is. Some people said that Cam downplayed his foot injury in that final, and he tried to like hide it
Mm-hmm.
ultimately from the team. Maybe Ron has something, maybe Harbor or something with that. But yeah, it's really interesting. You would think that these two guys would be dabbing it up, because they meant so much to each other, but they're really not. They're actually downplaying the relationship entirely on both sides.
Yeah, it's like they're finally showing us that there was actually issues there. See, with Ron, there are a lot of fans already ready to run him out of town, which is absolutely absurd. Where he's a season and a half into a complete facelift of an organization. Like
Right.
it's not just football here. Like I know you guys dealt with a little bit of stuff with the Jerry Richardson thing. It
Right.
doesn't
Right.
compare to
Yeah.
the
And
litany
it's not
of
even close.
bullshit we deal with as Washington fans, bro. It is really bad here. And Ron was the perfect guy to help try to build this culture. But I think it's taken him a little bit to adjust to the difference in the climate of the media market. The media is different than Charlotte media, and
Yeah, we're so friendly here, man. Nobody says anything mean to anybody. The
right,
friendly
it's just
media. But you're right. Poor Ron. That's what I say is poor Ron. He has been the punching bag for our organization. We had the Greg Hardy issue before the Jerry Richardson one. So Greg Hardy when the NFL and you know what, I want to call the NFL out on mess like this is Boy, do you remember how hard they bucked back against concussions? Like anybody looked like they got a concussion, they were like, got to get them off the field. Now concussions barely even matter in the NFL. Once again, they did it for like 1 year. They played their little lip service to the crowd of like, oh, we care about player safety. And now you see cats getting blown up. Terry McLaurin
murdered.
murdered, dude. I was like,
Walked
God,
to
I
the
thought he
lounge.
was
He went to the
dead.
he went to the yeah, dude. Yeah, it looked terrible, bro. It looked
And
really
then
bad.
but that in 2 years ago, that guy, they're not going to let him play for 2 weeks. And so here they did the same thing with domestic violence and all of this when the Ray Rice tape
Flavor of the
came
week.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Greg Hardy was a guy for the Carolina Panthers who was in line to get big payday. He got on that commissioner non exempt list. And Ron used to have to go, they would trot Ron out there every week and he would field all these questions. He just took the flogging for the whole team. Then the Jerry Richardson thing happened. Flogging. Then they bring him to Washington and that starts with the name of the football team. Then, I mean, there is so
Yeah.
many things going on. And you got your owner, which they won't even allow in the building. And on top of that,
Oh, he's there. He's there though. He's there. Yo,
RV,
they're sneaking Snyder into games on
is it?
Sunday.
He's like in disguise. He's wearing the baseball cap down.
He's wearing like an 8X hoodie that doesn't fit him while his wife looks like
There's
a
so
billion
many
dollars.
bad stories, and I don't even know how you guys weather it. Like, I mean, it's actually interesting as a Washington football fan. Is like it feels like you guys have so many black eyes that they don't even matter anymore. I mean, look, is that you got raided by the feds, and that's like a non-story now.
Oh yeah, we pretty. I know that's crazy. Like it's like
You
a
know,
couple weeks ago. We got an FBI raid on a Tuesday. It's nothing. It's
yeah,
normal around here in Ashburn.
I know. That
We
was
got
a
Breaking
short
Bad
news
taking
cycle.
place. It's something new. It's because we. You want to know? I forgot about that. Is because the team completely botched like the Sean Taylor retirement ceremony, and
Yeah,
immediately everything else was forgotten. And then on top of that, Congress is pressing
Congress.
the league to release the emails with the team. It's like watching what is it, House of Cards. It's like a political show. It's like more than watch football with this football team, man.
It's fitting. It's fitting for the location and all of it, man. I mean, hey, you gotta. I mean, it's exciting nonetheless. There's a lot to talk
Oh, it
about.
is. It is. They keep us with things to talk about. Just one day the product on the field needs to be better. And speaking of that, we have a game this weekend. I wasn't gonna consider taking a drive up to North Carolina, but you guys decided to make the tickets go to playoff prices because Cam and Ron's return. What the hell is that about?
It's about Cam coming back, my man. Look, is that you could have come to look 10 days ago. And you would have you check out our YouTube channel, you check out the C3 Panthers podcast, and I was crying. I was already, and I'm an optimist. I'm not the first fan that turns on like on the team and thinks that it's all dead. Is that I think I'm usually the guy. There's a lot of football to be played, but it was bad, bro. It was so bad. We lost to the Giants in what was the worst game in the history of our football team, dude. We had 150 yards of offense, just horrendous, man. Then we get smacked by the Patriots a couple of weeks later in what was arguably the second worst game in our team history, and it just looked so bad. And Sam Darnold, I mean, it's just awful. Like you could not produce a yard. What happened
That
is
didn't
this:
last
is
long.
Cam came home. Cam came home, and that's why them ticket prices are like this. And you know what? 2 weeks ago, man, that whole stadium would have been in Burgundy. That whole stadium would have been burgundy, not this week. Cam, the savior, Super Cam, the return. He means hope in Carolina. That's what the Superman symbol means, is hope.
Yep, my man Heineke said in his presser the other day, Cam is the god of Charlotte, man. Like he's that guy around there. He galvanized the franchise, the estate. Like he is larger than life in that
He's our
organization.
first superstar.
And it's nice to hear that we would have filled the stadium with burgundy because we do that here. We don't do that at FedEx. We don't fill our
That's
stadium.
funny.
It's nice to know we can fill a
Y'all
stadium.
travel though. Turns out y'all travel.
Yeah, we do. We do travel well. I wish people would start traveling to our home stadium, but we need to get a better stadium first. But how you feeling about this game? How do you feel about these matching up? Y'all are at 5-5. We're sitting at 3-6. Y'all are the seventh seed at the time, and we're only one game difference in the loss column. It's a weird year
Crazy.
in the NFL.
And there's like
Very
10
weird.
teams all with the same record. Is that there are every team I mean, you look throughout these divisions and everybody's sitting at that 4-6, that 5-5 type record. There's a lot of teams that have 3 wins that could be in the running down the road, which is crazy. Oh, when it comes to this game, is that look, is that our defense is we bring that smoke on defense. And the problem, our defense would be what we believe would be the number one defense in the league if our offense had been competent, right? Like our defense had been hindered by our offense and their lack of production. So I think that last week you saw this is that the defense immediately creates a turnover on the very first drive and the offense capitalized. 2 weeks ago, that would have been a field goal or 0 points. So look, is that right now is that I wish I could tell you what the Panthers are going to really, really look like, but there's a lot of uncertainty. How much are they going to unleash Cam? How confident are they going to be with him in the passing game? But I tell you alone is that the offense is not going to be any worse than it was 2 weeks ago, and that's going to help our defense. So I do feel like we have a good chance against the team that and you know your team better than I do, but you saw there's been some times, even though you've put up points in this season, like if you look at the scores, there's points there. There have been questions about that offensive production and when they come about. But your defense is turning it on at the right time, right? Last
Finally.
three games, finally getting better, starting to turn the quarter. I think the Panthers have the advantage in this game, right? I think we got the better defense. You guys are nicked up on defense. And I
Oh my
think that
God.
we have more. Look, we got the best running back in the league. Like we should be able to win this game, I would think. But it's the NFL. There's parity everywhere. But I am feeling good. But we're on cloud nine, man. Cam brought us up to outer space, so maybe maybe that's just emotion. We hope it's going to play out on the football field.
Hey, so Cam is for sure starting Sunday.
Yeah, it certainly seems that way. Is that Matt Rule said in his press conference yesterday that they're giving the majority of reps to him in practice, and that it's trending that way. That's what his phrase was. It's trending that way to him starting. I think they gotta start. I mean, look, and this is, you want to know why why Cam was not on another team, and I won't say the Washington team because I think you kind of put your finger on the pulse when it comes to Ron and what he's trying to do and that, but other teams. Because there's other teams that could have used a big mercenary like Cam, whether it be the Seahawks while Russell Wilson was hurt, or the Cowboys while Dak was hurt. Anybody could use them. I mean, you got to think of, hey, the Jets could have benefited from this. But Cam's presence, dude, his personality, he's such a big force, dude. I mean, like when you see him, he's like a defensive lineman, and he's so happy. He's got such a good personality. He just doesn't make for a good backup, because
he has
you
to
have
be a starter.
yeah, because then you see him on the sideline and the guy's not doing too well, and you're like, I mean, everybody's like, put that dude in. That's what I would be like. I'd be like, he's the first pick in every backyard football game. I want that guy, right? So I think that I don't think he can go. I don't think the Panthers can really just say, oh, we're going to use him partially, but for so long, because we're looking at him and we're like, we need that dude in. So yeah, I think he starts this week, and hopefully, the time off, man, he's fully healthy. We'll see how he can perform. I think he's got gas in the tank, but I'm also like the biggest Cam fan in the history of the world, so I'm a stand.
I love him too. I love him. I'm a stand too. That Cameron Jarrell Newton, that is my
I
guy.
know.
I've rode with him since the second he came in the league. I remember that draft, like praying Gabbard went number 1 and he slid to us in that draft. And we ended up drafting Ryan Kerrigan that year. And we just ended up getting a good pick. But I wanted Cam so bad. Like I wanted it so bad. Like I knew he was going to be an absolute superstar.
Can you believe that there's a former GM? I think he was the GM for the Texans at one point. His name's Charlie Casserelli.
That's our former
Yeah,
GM
Casserelli. That's it. Yeah. I call him Charlie Casserole because this dude said he would take Blaine Gabbert 99 out of 100 times over Cam, and I was like, I can't ever respect you again, homie. And Cam was, and he's the savior of our team. He's our first superstar. Look, we've had 2 other guys that maybe enter that conversation. Steve Smith, but Steve Smith's the little guy that overcame, right? He's not like the mega star, even though he did win a Triple Crown, which is dope as you know what. And Julius Peppers, who is the guy that the reason I'm a football fan. He grew up in Bailey, North Carolina, which is about 30 minutes from where I live at. When he went, I said, wherever this guy goes in the NFL, I didn't really have an NFL team at the time. I was just getting into the NFL. I was a hockey guy when I was coming up playing sports myself. And I was like, man, this was 1990, it was 2001. I said, wherever this guy goes, I'm going to cheer for him. He went to Carolina, and it was match made in heaven. But Peppers then played a majority of his career elsewhere. Cam is our first star. So I mean, he means everything to us. So imagine if this works out. What a redemption story this is.
Man, that would be insane. It would be really insane. So, but what's crazy is you guys just traded for a quarterback. Is the Sam Darnold experiment already over?
Done. I did a video last night, and have you seen the movie Back to the Future? I mean, yes. I feel like everybody's seen that. Do you remember that picture that like they're disappearing in the picture each moment, and he's got to like get back? Is like Sam Darnold is gone from the picture, dude. He is missing. He has been erased. And I tell you, you knew it was happening even before Cam got here, because so they benched him in that Giants game. I think it was the Giants game, and then he comes back. We get a win against Atlanta, and then we play New England again. And he's terrible. And it was so bad. You're like, why did they bench? It's surprising that they didn't bench him in that game. And we were asking that, why did they not bench? And Matt Rule comes out and said, we just felt like, look, is that he needed to fight through this. So after this, they're asking immediately after the game, is Sam Darnold your going to be your starting quarterback? And Matt Rule goes, man, I got to go look at the tape. I was like, what
Oh,
do you
you know
mean
what
you got
that
to go look
means.
at the tape? I was like, what do you mean you were at the game, bro? You were standing right on the sidelines, but
That's what
okay.
P answers.
And
So yeah,
then
he's
this,
fucking toast.
yeah, here's the thing. The next day, oh man, he got some shoulder soreness. He's getting an MRI, and we were like, you know what? That's IR. Here he comes. Because IR saves the team a little face because what they do is instead of benching him from bad play, he's been erased from the team because of an injury. And that helps them not look as bad for making a poor decision, right? I mean, at the end of the day, it didn't work, and they have already moved on. He's non-existent. They're talking about Cam learning the playbook, and they're talking about how um, Barkley, what's that guy? What's his name? Barkley. He's Sam
Saquon?
Barkley. I think that's his name.
Oh,
Sam
Sam.
Barkley. Yeah, we just picked him up. Like I was like, how is he going to
Oh,
help
okay.
Cam? He don't even know the playbook himself. Darnold, you would think would be in the meetings. There ain't. Darnold's gone. Never going to play for the Carolina Panthers again.
Man, that was fast, and I'm glad we didn't make that trade for him because the first couple when y'all were
I
3 and
know.
0, it was sweet. Things were sweet. It was a different world. We were like the redemption story of Darnold. It was Gase. It was the Jets. He had no chance to succeed, and
Fool's
man,
gold.
shit fell. Yeah, fool's gold, man. Hey,
It was. I mean, he wasn't throwing touch.
early
He wasn't throwing
September,
the
a
ball that
lot of
well.
fakes things happen.
You were right about that. And
He was
then
getting
he
rush
was running the
touchdowns.
ball. And I tell you this, and not to defend Sam, because he's bad. I think he's shell shocked. He's kind of got the David Carr thing where it's just like it's a mental thing at this point. Like
Mhm.
he's still seeing ghosts. We've all seen that famous clip of
Hell
when
yeah.
Bill Belichick got to him. He's still seeing ghosts. Like he's always going to see ghosts. But you know, you do think this is that some players you expect them to perform better under better circumstances, right? Like if you give them an offensive line, you give them some weapons, and we didn't have an offensive line, so we didn't make things easy for them. But it turns out the NFL ain't easy, and it ain't perfect, and you just got to figure out how to get it done with what you got. And he won't doing it. No one's going to give Cam Newton any excuses about not having a good offensive line. That's for sure.
So, are you guys would you give the advantage, the coaching advantage between Ron and Matt Rule this Sunday?
You know, I give that to Ron just because of his experience. Here's the I think the concern for the Carolina Panthers team is that we're, with our coaching staff, we're so young and so inexperienced, and sometimes that brings youthful enthusiasm, right? I mean, look, as I was ready to body bag Joe Brady 2 weeks ago, and you gave him Cam, and all of a sudden the thing looked a lot better. But he never had been a full-time play caller at any level, right? So you're starting to wonder, did he have a little beginner's luck last year? Is he old enough and experienced enough to weather these difficult times? So I don't know enough. Look, our best coach on the staff is Phil Snow, our defensive coach, and he's the oldest, most experienced coach on the staff. Ron has been there, man. I tell you this is the best quality about Ron Rivera. He's not a great coach. And what I mean by that is,
X's and
and
O's.
it's not disrespect, but he doesn't like. So you think that this is that like having Bill Belichick gives you a statistical advantage. Having you know, you got to pick. I mean, I don't know who or your former offensive coordinator, the son of the kid
Shanahan,
from
McVay. Oh,
yes, yeah,
Kyle
Shanahan,
Shanahan.
Shanahan, yeah. You think that these guys are so smart and so that they give you like they could alone win you one or two games. Ron never wins you a game. Like he don't out game plan people. He don't come out and do anything. But what he does, what his greatest strength is steady the course, dude. This guy is unshakable, and he's never lost a locker room ever. And through some difficult times, his teams always play well, or generally. I mean, there might have been one time in Carolina at the back end with no quarterback where this didn't happen, but November and December are the months of Ron Rivera. He doesn't get shook. He's tough. And that, you know, I used to when he was on the hot seat in Carolina in his second year, Rio. And look, our defense was terrible. You got a defensive coach and your defense stinks. People were talking about firing Sean McDermott, who turns out to be the maybe one of the greatest reasons, one of the biggest
Man.
factors of success for Ron Rivera in his career.
Yep.
But you know what? Is that I used to say this. I'd be like, I want to see Ron get angry. I want to see him do this. And then I learned as I got a little bit older and more mature myself is that that's exactly what you don't need the coach doing. You don't need the coach panicking because everybody else is. The fans are panicking, the players are worrying. You need that captain of the ship who don't get shook. And that's why I give the advantage to Ron Rivera. He is unshakable. Even though I have my opinion of him has gone down because, like you said, the kind of passive aggressiveness towards Cam, it's kind of strange. I want to ask him some questions, like some unfiltered questions about like why aren't you? I think he felt like he got did wrong. That's what I truly think is. I think Ron feels like he got did wrong by Carolina and was in a poor circumstance, and he's kind of holding that a slight grudge.
Yeah, maybe so, but I know that the DC fans and the DC media, man, they're very hard on Ron, and Ron
Really?
is over it. Like Ron is already Ron. He gets spicy with the media now, man, because they press him. They press him when they want to know something. Like for instance, this Curtis Samuel thing, which is like an absolute mystery. Like, was his groin hurt when y'all let him test free agency last year?
He's been hurt his entire career, man. And look, he's a fantastic. Look, actually, no, I won't say he's a fantastic player. He is one of these guys that everybody tells me is going to be awesome, right?
And never
And
gets
that
there.
like he's like the greatest thing that has ever existed if he wasn't hurt. That's what they always say. And then he's always hurt. And but to his credit is when he is on the field, the dude is a difference maker, man. He had in his
That's true.
rookie year, he had like 5 touchdowns on like 20 touches. It was
That's
something
insane.
insane. It was like,
That's
geez, like
stupid. That's
so
crazy.
he is special. I am actually a little shocked in that Washington went out and got him. And the reason being is that he had hamstrung Carolina several times in the past with injury problems. I mean, he had a heart problem at one time. He always had this like his hamstring was snapped. I mean, all these different things. And then he had last year where he blew up. I would think that Ron and them would have been a little bit more cautious. I am surprised that they gave him so much money. And I'm sad for Curtis Samuel because he's kind of like that. You root for the small guy, man, like the small guy that gets out there with
Yeah.
all these big giants and just slays these dudes. So I hope he can get back on the field, but he hasn't played a snap for y'all, really, has he?
But he played
Like
like
two?
one game on a snap count versus the Falcons, and then that's all I've seen. I call him sideline Samuel right now because
Yeah.
he's on no side field Samuel because he's always on the bikes on the side field during practice. Like there was a clip of him practicing the week after he played, and he took like one bad step on a route, and we haven't seen him since. And Ron has not put him on the season-ending IR for some reason. Ron is just holding out hope. At some point of this season, he's going to get healthy, and the media is so sick of it, and they press him
But do you think
about
is
it
that real?
every
Is
week.
that the wrong move? Do you think that's the wrong move? Do you think, I mean, like,
I
kind of does putting them on IR really help you? I mean, you get to bring up somebody from the practice squad, I guess.
I mean, at this point, it doesn't feel like he's going to see the field this year. So it feels like, and the way that Ron is like worded his responses on it, like he's very. It's kind of off-putting for Ron because Ron doesn't get like that. But there's been like verbal jabbing from Ron in the media all off season because he has to wear so many hats for this organization. They're asking him
Right.
about things. That's why they hired Jason Wright to try to take some of that load off. It like everyone here is pretty much falling on the sword for Daniel Snyder. And it sucks because these are good people. Ron Rivera is a great person. Jason Wright is a great person. And people are projecting their past disappointment on these two people who are absolutely here to clean up this whole operation. And it sucks, man. It really does suck to see them go through this stuff. But
You
Ron
feel
has to do
sorry for him
better.
at some point. That's how I felt for
Man,
him, man. When we went up and talked about all the Jerry Richardson stuff and all this, as you were like, man, and I can see Ron. I haven't watched the press conferences, but I could see it is like he's got to deal with all this crap about Snyder. He's got to deal with this about RV, about all this, and then somebody comes after him about Curtis Samuel. The first football question he gets in like 100 hours, and it's about Curtis Samuel. I could see him pushing back on that and being like, just shut up and let me make the decision. He would fit good, man, beside Terry McLaurin, though.
it fit great. It would be lovely to have him. So to close out the show, what are your predictions for the game Sunday? Does Carolina win? And if so, what's the score prediction you got?
Yeah, because I'm like I said, I'm an optimist, half glass half full type dude at this point, and I'm gonna pick my Panthers until they give me a reason not to. And last week we beat the Arizona Cardinals, who were hamstrung certainly without Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins, but we got Cam back, and I'm gonna say this is that the Carolina Panthers roll the Washington football team, and the reason I believe that is I believe this place Taylor Heineke's gonna be on a silent count, bro. He's gonna have to be on the silent count. That place is gonna be loud and rocking. I think the excitement alone, number one. Number two, the Panthers win this game, and I don't want to give the storyline only to Cam because he could come out there and be rusty for all we know. He could make some errors, right? He might not be
Hope so.
on that kind of not beginner's luck, but you know what I'm saying, just like he was feeling something special in that last game against Arizona because he hadn't been on the field. He might come back down to earth a little bit. But here, our defense is going to harass Taylor Heineke. And I think Taylor Heineke, who I cheer for, man, is like a great story, the underdog slinging it around and stuff. But when you put that type of pressure on a player who is kind of a little bit playing ahead of their, well, Ron would probably have a great saying about this, is playing like out in front of his feet or something like that to a certain degree. is that Taylor Heineke? I think we could create some turnovers. So I think our defense also contributes to the win. I think the game is 27-13.
27-13. That would not be a good week for Ron and company.
No, and here's the thing is that you would think that is a touchdown and 2 field goals for the Washington football team. It's not. It's 2 touchdowns and a missed extra point by Joey Sly. That's what I think is going to happen. Good God. Our former, he misses everything.
Hey, he made everything for us last week, and he looks
better
than Chris Blewett. I don't know if you've seen Chris Blewett kick for us, but he was the second kicker that we put out there this year. In every game he was in, he blew it. He was not getting the ball over the snapper. Like, he kicked it off the guard's helmet one time. It looked like we brought a guy off the street and said, we need someone to fill a uniform, and he had to go out there and was tasked to kick a field goal. It was really bad.
You will not get that from Joey Sly. Joey Sly can kick this thing. He could kick it from Washington, D.C. to Carolina. This guy's got a leg on him. The problem is that he's good money, or I feel like he's always good between 40 and 60 yards, but he'll miss an extra point, and he'll miss like a 28-yard field goal, and then you start distrusting him and stuff like that. So he's hit or miss, man. But I think this is misses extra point in this game. I'm calling it.
All right, well, I'm going to go in the opposite direction. I'm going to say Washington gets the win. And trust me, I've trashed this team a lot this year because we're really bad. I've already started evaluating college quarterbacks and what we're going to do after the season.
Bad draft, isn't it? They say it's a bad class right now.
There's
like,
a couple guys I really like. There's a guys I really like, but overall, it's not the greatest class. But I won't say it's a bad class, but I've already started looking at them close. I've had my magnifying
What guys?
glass.
All right, just because I'm curious, who sticks out to you?
I like Malik Willis, Matt Corral, Sam Howell, and Kenny Pickett. Like, those 4 guys, I don't think I would draft anyone outside of those 4 guys. But those 4 guys, I think Sam Howell, I think we really like him. UNC's quarterback.
Yeah, is it Malik Willis? You said, is he from Liberty?
Yeah, he's the Liberty
Yeah,
receiver.
yeah.
He's a
He
traits
looks like
guy.
a little Kyler Murray type player or something like that. He looks pretty cool. I like
Yeah,
him, but
he's
man,
electric.
we were shopping for a quarterback just 2 weeks ago, and it was like, man, I wish we would have picked Justin Fields.
Oh, I wish we would
Hey,
have too. I
we
wish we
all
would. I
passed
wish we
on
would
him.
have
How
too.
about that?
We let we
We all
let we let Chicago jump us to go get Fields, and Fields is he's finally starting to flash what we thought he could be. That Monday night game he had against the Steelers was impressive, but I'm taking Washington with a 27-21 victory and spoiling
Ooh, a
Cam's
lot of points.
reunion. Yeah, there's gonna be points, but I think it's gonna be not just offense because y'all's defense is filthy. I think we're gonna get either a strip sack touchdown or a pick six or something. We're gonna score a defensive touchdown and we're gonna get a couple more touchdowns, bunch of field goals from Joey Sly. Joey Sly is kicking all day, and we'll somehow pull out a
No way.
27-21. We're gonna win the game. Hey, Joey Sly was kicking that thing for us versus Tampa because we have this thing where the most important factor Cam would have made here is in the red zone. Versus the Chiefs and the Packers, we went to the red zone like 9 times and scored 20 points. It was crazy.
Welcome to my life, bro.
We didn't punt one time versus the Packers in Lambeau. We didn't punt one time. We scored 10 points. Taylor's out here taking dives at the 1 yard line, throwing 1 yard line interceptions. Oh my God, it was terrible.
You know, if you're right about the score prediction, you know, I think who has a big game, and really on the offense, the only person I would be, I think Antonio Gibson. If he's a difference maker, man. And the Panthers have been susceptible to giving up some rushing yards this season. Dallas put up like almost 200 on us in a game. And the other one was that New England game. They rushed for about $150. And it's just tough on a defense when they're out there the whole game. And when a team starts running at you and punching you in the face, which is a Ron Rivera type game plan, I could see, like, if you guys win, I think Gibson is a big part of it.
Yep, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing Stephon Gilmore and Terry McLaurin go at it because the last time they went at it when we played New England when he was there, it was great. It was Terry's rookie season and Terry was giving him problems. So I'm excited to see that, man.
Ooh, all right, we're gonna watch that. I'm gonna go back and watch that game tonight then.
Yeah, go ahead and take a look at that and see Terry. We had Colt McCoy playing quarterback, so we didn't have a chance really. But Terry was getting
Sure.
open all day. Like they went at it all
He's
day. So
good,
yeah, man.
man. He's so tough,
I expect
dude. So tough.
he's we don't deserve him, man. Like this dude's had to play with 7 quarterbacks in 3 years. Like I don't know how we better offer him the world in a year or so when it's time for him to re-up. But yeah, man. I
Especially
enjoyed
on a
this,
team
man.
that struggled to find a wide receiver. You know, I mean, you guys have been trying to find that dude for so long. And who was the guy? I liked him a lot. My friend, one of my best friends, is a Washington football fan, and he's a dude from Seattle that you guys paid a
Oh, Paul
boatload to.
Richardson. Oh
Oh,
my
I know.
gosh.
I liked him, and then he is stinker.
Oh man, that's what people are calling Curtis Samuel that, and I hate that for Curtis Samuel because Curtis
I know.
Samuel isn't
That's
Paul
like such an
Richardson, but
insult.
yeah, right now the shoe fits because he can't get on the field, and for some reason Ron won't end his season. But that's gonna wrap this episode and this preview of the Carolina Washington game. I enjoyed kicking it with you, man. You can go ahead and plug you guys' show and your social media before you go.
Yeah, man. Look, if you're looking for just football fans who are just experts at being fans, then the C3 Panthers podcast is for you. Look, is that we would love for you to come on. We have a post game show. Guys, you can come in, you can call in, you can jump in the chat room. Whether win, lose, or draw, we love when the opposing fan base gets in there and takes their lumps or gives us our lumps. We do that on Sunday or directly after the game. Longest running Panthers podcast Tuesday night, 9 p.m. on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Checking me out on Twitter at cat_chronicles. Love to talk football. You follow me, I'll follow you back. And I would say this: best of luck, Rio, just not this week.
I appreciate it, man. Likewise. And I checked you guys out the other day with my guy Louis T. That was a great
Yeah, I love
episode,
Louis,
man.
man. We go way back. We've been pounding these YouTube streets for a long time, man.
Well, yeah, man. And I respect it, man. I'm trying to get on that level one day. But that's going to conclude today's episode of Rambling with Rio. Y'all know the social media at Rio_Robinson91. Let's get this W this weekend like we did last weekend, and hell to the nameless football team. Deuces.